Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Coming up, we'll have This Week in Auto History, get you updated on the stories making auto headlines this week, and we got a little special treat for you coming up here with a special guest. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. Last half hour of our program for this week. And our special guest this hour is Michael Kamins with Kamins Motorcars. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning to y'all.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate it. Tell me what kind of a car dealer you are.
Well, I started being a car dealer back in the early 90s, and I was an independent dealer till the early 2000s. And for some reason, I wasn't loving it like I used to. So I sort of changed gears and went primarily classic cars. Probably 90% of my inventory are classic cars, maybe 10% or more the modern cars. I've been doing this probably for over 30 years. And what I'm doing these days, I absolutely love. I do it at my own pace. I sell maybe 100 cars a year, and most of these are consignments. I didn't start out for it to be that way, but it materialized, and I do a lot of consignments for people.
Okay, so those of us that don't know what the word consignment means in the automotive industry, tell us about that.
A lot of people don't have the time or the know-how to sell their own cars. They're too busy, or they just really don't know how to do it or what their car is worth. So they commission me to come get their car, bring it to the warehouses, and I do everything from start to finish. I'll pick up their car, I'll get them clean and detailed. We take pictures and videos, and I market the car for them, and I get the car sold. And once the car is sold, we make sure they get their money, and the new buyers actually become a customer for me as well. I help them get their cars shipped to them. And after all these years, the referrals and the repeat business is just wonderful.
What is the coolest car you got in the warehouse right now for sale?
That's a tough question. I have a few of them. I have about 4 Shelby GT 350 convertibles. I have a Hertz Shelby GT 350.
Ooh.
And it's a wide mix of cars, actually.
Can we take a walk through the shop?
Sure. Let me see if I can turn this around.
That 350 GTH, is that the black and gold stripes or one of the
No.
It's the black and gold stripes.
What a beautiful car, yeah.
He's got them double stacked. Look at all this.
We're jealous.
This is just one of the warehouses, but right there is the black and gold GT 350. It's I don't think there's a nicer one anywhere in the country. It has a very interesting story to it, and it's just wonderful.
Well, is that a 58? Is that a 58 Corvette that I saw there?
I think so.
Right there?
Yeah.
That's a 62 fuel-injected Corvette.
Oh, my God.
Is that and the gold is a very unusual color, very low production color as well.
It is. It's fawn beige, and you don't see a lot of fuelies today. And so this is one of the warehouses. The other warehouse is just right across the parking lot. And
that's green.
Yeah.
We keep them full,
Look at that.
So where do you said most of these are on consignment with you?
That is correct.
Okay.
I have my own collection that are mixed in the warehouses and elsewhere, but typically it has really turned into a consignment. During COVID, I think I sold 74 cars for people.
Wow. And
this year alone, I've already surpassed that, and it's just September.
Well, that's what I wanted to move our conversation to. How are sales in this time of the pandemic for one, but also the fact that, dealer inventory, both new and used cars, is just awful. And I would imagine, I mean, how is this playing out for you as pretty much a classic car dealer?
Well, you know, when the pandemic came, myself, along with a lot of people that I know, we were convinced that sales were just going to be dead. And it was quite the opposite. Sales rose, to almost double. And why that was, I really don't know. I have reasons to think that maybe people were deciding, if I don't do this now, when will I do this?
Right, yeah.
Maybe they got sick. Maybe they had a family member get sick. But sales has absolutely gone through the roof. It's fun and it's exciting, and I'm selling more cars than I've ever sold.
And how have values followed that? Have they kind of stayed flat, or is values really inflated as well?
My experience is it's inflated. I'm asking higher prices than I would ever normally ask, and I'm getting them.
Wow.
Do you think that your buyers are just flush with money for some reason?
I don't know where the money came from. Maybe some of it came from government. Maybe some of it came from, like I said, people decided if they don't do it now, when are they going to do it? But money came from somewhere, and everyone's having a ball.
And you don't care where it came from. You just want some of it.
That's it.
Well,
That's correct.
I got my Muscle Machines magazine this week, and they did a feature back here on the Barrett Jackson Scottsdale auction that happened a little while ago. And for instance, the 1963 Chevrolet split window coupe, okay? Average selling price is $137,000. I'm sorry, the selling price was $137. The average selling price was $250,000. So somebody got themselves a really good deal. But on the other hand, too, the 70 Chevelle, the SS 454, selling price $198,000 with the average selling price of $195,000. So I guess it really depends on the buyer as to how much they want to pay, and it really boils down to what kind of car they want. And if you really want that white 1970 Chevy Malibu SS 454 with the black stripes, then you're willing to go over and above the amount of average selling price to get it, and you'll do it.
That's what I want.
Yeah,
and so that's what I'm going to get.
And I guess you find that to be true as well.
I do. Absolutely. Of course, when you're at these auctions, it's a lot different at the auctions than it is when people are searching, on the market. At these auctions, there's a lot of factors that go into what somebody is willing to pay and what they end up paying. So I don't know. There's a difference between auctions and searching the market.
Yeah. Somebody that comes in there, I noticed back over in the corner, you had that blue with a black vinyl top 70 model El Camino. So if that's what I'm looking for at the auction, if I don't see it, I'm not necessarily going to look for something else that just catches my fancy.
Well, I think that the other thing is, too, is that at an auction, everything gets into a fever pitch and you get emotions involved.
Oh, yeah.
Emotional selling is profitable.
Yeah, exactly. But, in your case, I'm online. You've got a car that I want. But there are other cars that I could choose from, but I choose the one that you have. And so there's more thought given to it. Maybe it's your location here in town. I'm in town, so I just go over to your place and take a look.
It might be the right color for a car from your past.
Yeah. I think that there are a lot of variables involved here. If you've got the car that I want, I'm going to do whatever I can to get that car. Is that what you run into?
It is. It's absolutely. And, also... I tell people all the time when I'm selling cars for them or if I'm selling them for myself, it's timing. It's right place, right time, right circumstances.
If you have a car that I want and I'm really undecided as to whether I'm going to spend, let's just say, $100,000 on a classic car, and there's another one that I'm kind of looking at, maybe it's, $90,000. Do you go back to your owner of the car that's wanting to sell it and say, hey, look, I've got a buyer that's willing to pay $90,000 cash for the car. Are you willing to come down on the price? Do you do that?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of times customers think their car is worth a lot more than it is.
Oh, yeah,
Most
all the
of the
time,
time.
yeah.
You know, and I'm always willing to try because classic cars are much different than a modern car. These are emotional buys. Maybe their father had one when they were younger, or maybe they had one when they were younger. So, you know, often I get a lot more for a classic car than maybe it's worth. But with these consignments, you know, we try to get their price that they want. But I tell them at some point, you know, if we're not getting what we want, we need to get realistic. And they do. You know, they want to sell them. They're not going to keep them for no other reason. I do a lot of car sales for widows from estates and law firms who are handling estates. I typically have a waiting list to get cars into the warehouses. Typically, I'll have at least 50 to 60 at all times. And if I sell 2 or 3 in 1 week, I have 2 or 3 more that come in. But people do get realistic.
So where can people go look at your inventory that you currently have available?
I'm working on my website. It should be up soon enough. It's going to be KaminsMotorcars.com. But they're always welcome to look up Kamins Motorcars on the internet, and my phone number's there.
Yeah.
And they're always welcome to come to the warehouse.
Okay. Yeah, because I see you've got a lot of listings on eBay and stuff as well. Classic Car Dealer, you know, some other locations. So it looks like you're posting them there as well. So, yeah,
Typically, I'll have 25 or 30 cars up at all times.
Okay.
Are most of the cars that you have in your collection from around the Houston area?
The majority are. People ship. I probably get 20 or 30 a year that people will ship from all over the country. They'll ship them here to me, and I'll sell them from my location here.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, it's nice to know that, you know, you're local here in the Houston area. And for me, if I really don't know what I want, but I've got a wad of money in my pocket and I want me a classic car, I'm coming out there and talking to you, and you're going to show me what you got.
Absolutely. And I love doing that. And even if people don't buy, I love the relationships that I've built. I love talking about cars, and I'm having a ball.
Yeah, like you said, the classic car market's different than walking into a new car dealership and talking to a salesman, because you do get into that talk about, you know, the 3 Deuces, or that's an SSL Camino, or that yellow 52 or 53 Corvette that you got sitting back over your right shoulder.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's nice.
So you get into talking about the stories about them and stuff, and that's part of being an automotive enthusiast.
Sure.
I want to test drive that one.
By the way, do the cars come with stories, and can you connect the car with the prospect of the new car buyer with the person that owns the car now?
That just depends. All these cars have stories, and depending on the documentation and the files that come with the cars, sometimes you get the whole story, and sometimes you don't. And even when you don't, you can be assured that these old cars have stories. After all these years, from the 50s, the 60s, the early 70s, they have stories. Currently, I have the last 2 1955 Corvettes that were ever produced. The yellow one over there is number 700, and the yellow one over there is number 699.
Wow!
And they have been together their whole lives from the beginning. And the story and the documentation and the videos from the 50s, it's just unbelievable, this story.
And the 55 was the first year for the V8 in that generation of Corvette. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And are both of those V8s?
They are both V8s.
Wow.
And I could be wrong, but I think they made about 29 manual shifts. Both of these are manual shifts and survivors. And the manual shifts are much more valuable than the
Amazing.
automatic.
So are you selling them together?
Yeah, we'll take it.
I am. That is the plan. The owner of these 2 cars is a Houstonian and extremely well known in the NCRS, and a dear friend of mine of over 30 years. And these cars were together until about 5 years ago when he bought them, and they were with the same family. And so we are selling them, and we'd like to sell them together since they've always been together.
Absolutely, because that's
amazing.
That's the hook. There is that they're brothers or sisters or whatever you want to call them, and they're in sequence right there with the numbers that they bring with them.
Yep.
I can't imagine separating the cars. It'd be like
twinsies.
It'd be like separating kittens. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It would be. And real briefly, they finance these cars. And so we have every return check that was used to pay for these cars. And you know how when you're running down the road and you see a car that you may want, you put a note under the windshield to call you if they ever want to sell them.
Right.
Well, I think we have about 27 of these notes that people have put on the windshields of these cars, and the owners had kept all of those notes.
So have you called all 27 of them to say the car is finally for sale?
I have not.
Well, that's the step to do right after you get off the line with us.
Yeah, except the only problem is that most of those notes were written in the 60s and 70s, and those people are dead.
In Houston, it's only a 7-digit. You can't remember if it's a 713, a 281, or any of the other prefixes.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Looks like he's got a team there.
And the prices have gone up considerably. Since
I bet they
have.
Listen, over there, you keep bouncing around. There's a 65 or 66 green Mustang.
Mike's in the market.
Right over, it's green with the black kind of off to probably straight ahead of you.
So these two cars, these are two 69 GT 350 convertibles. And I would put these two cars up with any of the cars in the country. These are absolutely top shelf, restored to perfection. As correct as they can be. And these are just beautiful cars and high dollar cars.
Yeah,
there was a lime green one though that you walked by, 65 or 66. Yeah.
I'm sorry. This one here, this car belongs to a widow that I'm selling for. She and her husband built this car
up in Conroe.
It was actually Huntsville. The car probably spent some time in Conroe, maybe car shows or what have you. So you have to like green if you're going to buy this car. But it was built very nicely.
Do you know the car, Mike?
You know the car, Mike?
Yeah, I shot that car several years ago for Cruising Style magazine.
Yeah,
I put it in there.
He shot it, meaning on a photograph.
Yeah.
Not with a gun.
Yeah. I did a story on it for the magazine.
So do you still have the pictures available? He might want those pictures.
I got a copy of the magazine.
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
I'd have to do some digging, but I got it in a file cabinet
somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, I mean, I am wowed, and I love it. It's absolutely a stunning collection of cars that you've got for sale there. How many cars in total do you have for sale there?
Like I said, I keep 50 or 60 cars. This is the main warehouse. Across the way is a second warehouse, right over there, and that's full of cars as well. So probably 50 or 60 cars at all times. I keep an inventory, and like I said, as soon as we sell a car or two or three, we have that many more that come right back in.
Yeah, I was looking for a place to kind of post on our Facebook page where your current inventory is. The best thing I found was your eBay store. So I went ahead and posted a link to your eBay store on there because that kind of looks like
right.
And it shows that you've got, anywhere from a $5,000 vehicle to a $105,000 vehicle and probably even above that. So, a good wide range of selections available there. It's not all just high dollar stuff. You offer some of the entry level collector stuff.
He's a giant Garages of Texas is what he is.
Well, you don't have to be rich to get a nice, cool classic car. There are cars in the $15,000 range, $25,000 range that are cars you could drive daily and take to car shows and have fun with.
Yep.
So, the classic cars market is wonderful. I've loved them since I was a little boy, and I enjoy what I'm doing. And anybody that wants to call me and come see the warehouse. You're welcome to. I'm going to get a website up eventually. Everyone tells me I need to, so I'll get that done one day.
Michael, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's Kamins Motorcars, and he is Michael Kamins. Thanks again, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You bet.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
Love to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email anytime. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for This Week in Auto History. And Conrad has that.
And there's a little bit, just in honor of We Need More Jeff, there's a little bit of Cadillac to the beginning of this.
What?
So in 1940...
I didn't wear my shirt.
In 1940, if Jeff gets us going here, the Cadillac, or the LaSalle, which was a lower entry-priced vehicle manufactured by Cadillac, ended its 14 years of production in 1940. And I thought a pretty classic-looking car there.
Yep.
So that's kind of the end of production. And when this ended production, Cadillac actually went into production of the M24 tank
I need one
for
of those.
World War II production.
Christmas is
and
coming.
in 1945, the last Cadillac M24 tank was built. They actually built 4,700 of these, and that was Cadillac's primary. It was their only production because they built the engines for all these tanks as well. And then in 1957, Ford Motor Company rolled out its first Edsel. Hold that. That is Maria Teresa Di Filippi. She was the first woman ever to compete in Formula One racing.
How do you get these out of order?
Because I send them to Mars out of order, because I know he puts them in order the way I send them. So it's probably my fault. So, oops.
Be gone with you.
So this is the first woman to drive in Formula One, and she drove a Maserati in the Portuguese Grand Prix.
That's a New York Maserati.
Maserati.
Uh-huh.
So in 1957, Ford rolled out the first Edsel.
Hey, great. It's awesome.
And I still love the look of the Edsel, that little toilet seat front end of it.
The horse.
Never heard it described quite like that.
And then in 1985...
It's more along the lines of a urinal, isn't it?
Okay. And then in 1985, the Yugo, manufactured in Yugoslavia, was first introduced to the U.S.
Fine
market.
automobile.
What a car that thing was. And they came standard with a rear window defogger. Do you know why? Keep your hands warm while you're pushing. You go call the wrecker. I'll wait here with the car. There's a million.
I know there are.
And then in 1989, the first Lexus was sold this week, and that was Toyota's new luxury division. It was the LS400. Still an iconic car.
Yes, it is.
And actually quite desirable. In 1987, the last Ford Thunderbird rolled off the assembly line in Lorain, Ohio.
What year?
97, I'm sorry. Leaving many of the car fans disappointed. One of the Ford dealers' beloved brands was the Thunderbird.
Kathy had a 97. She had an SHO.
And that would be it right there. Huge racing history in NASCAR as well. So goodbye to the Ford Thunderbird. And then in 2003, Harley-Davidson celebrated its 100th anniversary party in the Milwaukee Veterans Park. Now tell me, 100 years of Harley and about 8,000 Harley show up. How much beer do you think went through there in Milwaukee, of all places? And they weren't drinking Schlitz.
King of beer.
Congratulations, Harley, because now you're, 121
Are they going to
years,
survive?
122 years. Absolutely. Harley,
I think that they're hurting really bad.
yeah, but Harley has a brand loyalty beyond
Well, they're working with
reproach.
GMC now.
Well, true. They've moved up in the world.
Yeah, they sold their name to GMC for millions of dollars for them to put that on their
And
truck.
they gladly paid it.
For more oil.
I guess.
Well, that's
That way,
just
that's
they
how they're
leak.
going to survive.
Okay, some of the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Electric vehicle charging company Wallbox is set to build a $44 million, 130,000 square foot manufacturing plant up in Arlington, Texas that will aid the company's expansion in North America. The plant will be Wallbox's first manufacturing site in the U.S. The company expects to create 250 jobs in the region by 2030. Arlington plant will host production lines for the company's Pulsar Plus AC chargers. Pulsar. Wasn't that some sort of a television?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was another one that they're going to build, too. They'll manufacture the Quasar.
Another television brand. See, Pulsar was also a name of a Nissan little two-seat car.
And then the Supernova. Oh. DC fast charging went for public use. So, it's that.
And Buzz is probably all over it. He's probably already been invited to their manufacturing facility. He's sitting there waiting for his fast
He turned
charger.
the shovel on the opening day that they went out there and said, here it is.
He shoveled a few things on us.
No doubt. Texas Ford dealers have joined forces with the U.S. Army on a two-pronged mission to counter the dire shortage of trained auto technicians with helping soldiers land on their feet as they transition to civilian life. The bulk of the 16-week program taught at Central Texas College, a community college in Killeen, but students spend the third week of each month at dealership service departments shadowing top technicians and working on customer vehicles. Dealers cover the students' lodging expenses but keep any income they generate. So that's good. It's a nice training program.
Yep.
And Greg Wolford, a shop chairman who helped General Motors workers build ventilators during the onset of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, was recently placed on one himself after becoming infected with the virus, according to union officials. He seems to be doing okay, but he's on one of the ventilators that he built. Yikes.
Whoa.
And after fitful attempts to expand the Nismo performance line, Nissan is taking another step toward with the debut of a tuner trim version of the Note Aura e-Power compact hatchback for Japan, probably going to be in the U.S.
An electric hot rod.
An electric hot rod.
Yay.
That's exactly right. All right, time for us to take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap up today's show right after this. Whether you own a newer car or want to keep your older one humming along for a while longer, think of Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln to keep things in tip-top shape. From oil changes to major repairs, you can depend on the highly skilled service pros at Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevrolet, and Bayway Lincoln to perform fast, efficient service to keep your investment running strong. For all your service needs, remember Bayway. Schedule your next appointment online anytime. Bayway, keeping it original. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in, returns Saturday, September 18th at 2 Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurants in Katy and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone's invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods at 2 locations. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy, and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Loopy founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, and in Katy on the Grand Parkway just south of I-10, where you'll see the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, September 18th, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com. Well, that wraps up for another episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk, if you will. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In-Wheel Time Car Show streams live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central Time. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast channel 7 days a week.
What?
Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In-Wheel Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Zekin. For booking agent and podcast man, Mike Out of This World Mars.
All right.
His royalty, King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's show was produced by Truman Capote.
There you go.
Be sure and join us next week when we'll be coming to you live from the fabulous Hemi Hideout in Brookshire, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Have yourself a great weekend. Stay safe and cool like you know you are. We'll see you then.